What's up, guys? Mike the Cop, and I am definitely late on this story by probably at least a week, maybe. But that's a long time in internet years. It's like months in the 80s. Anyway, Tempe, Arizona, several officers were at a Starbucks location and asked to leave or move out of the line of sight of another customer because that customer felt, quote, uncomfortable. I think that's what kids these days call getting triggered. Now, you may be thinking right off the bat, because of, my channel being called Mike the Cop, that I'm going to take the opportunity to try and dump on Starbucks. But quite to the contrary, in this video, I am actually going to come to their defense. Allow me to explain. In this case, some moron had a problem with the cops for absolutely no real practical or objectively reasonable reason. That moron tells a moron that happens to work at Starbucks about this issue and wants something done, and the moron at Starbucks takes action on that based on what, I don't know, their own personal bias or preference, or what they perceive culturally at that location. I have no idea. I'm so disconnected from the situation, it would be mere speculation. Either way, two morons were involved. One of the reasons you guys may think it's weird that I would come to the defense of Starbucks is because if you're familiar with my content, you know that I am connected to and promote and support Black Rifle Coffee Company. And I do that because I believe in that company, and not the least of which reason they support our law enforcement nonprofit, Humanizing the Badge, Call for Backup, etc. But this isn't an ad for Black Rifle Coffee. That is the coffee company that my energies have been, up to this point, put behind. And I believe in that, and I support that and them. I don't jive with Starbucks as a corporate entity for a number of reasons that I think some of their policies and their involvement in politics don't jive with my personal way of viewing and seeing practical living in politics. But that's not the point of this video. In fact, I would imagine that some of you who are going to see this, or some of you who actually consume my content on a fairly regular basis, don't agree with me on everything about practical living or politics. And that's okay. We need that kind of disagreement and dialogue in order to actually get somewhere, rather than the typical everybody divides up into their camps and defends their camp and ideology to the death, no matter what, even if they're, wrong in an instance. And that's what I saw happening this week in the law enforcement community, in great part, is that everybody started jumping on this sort of like dump Starbucks bandwagon. Maybe there are objective reasons to dump Starbucks, but that's not what this was about. This was about taking the example of one moron employee and then making it expand into everybody and a normative decision. The reality is that it's not like Starbucks corporate had some type of secret CCTV video in there that had badge recognition technology, and as soon as this camera recognized badges on the premises, it phoned some secret office at corporate, and then somebody was quickly calling the Tempe manager like, code blue, repeat, code blue, and trying to rush the cops out of there. That's not what happened. I don't even know if that's ever happened or ever will happen. I wouldn't anticipate that happening anytime soon, but it didn't happen here. And that's the point. We have one person making a decision who happens to represent Starbucks because they're an employee and wear the uniform. That is my point, is that we need to be, in our criticism of things going on in culture, we need to be consistent. We need to maintain our integrity in that. We need to be objective. We need to be reasonable. We need to be intelligent. Apply some common sense here. When a cop oversteps their bounds of authority, when a cop is shown to actually practice or hold racist things, when a cop, like I recently saw, was planting drugs on people and got caught doing it, when cops have used excessive force in a variety of situations, where those instances happen, I am one of the first person not only to call those people out, but to try to call us back to a sense of objectivity that says that's not normative. We live in a day and age where you can put something under the microscope because it got caught on camera, but the millions and tens of millions and hundreds of millions of instances, billions if you take enough time, of instances where things go very, very well for the police, that's the objective reality, okay? We don't want to be judged as police officers on the action of a few who make us look bad because they're wearing the uniform. Likewise, we shouldn't dump on a corporation or any business, any group of people, because one person acts like a moron. That's silly. And it's inconsistent with how we normally will defend ourselves from that side of pro-law enforcement. And so I felt like I wanted to say this. I wanted to say, like, hey, listen, criticize a company or a group of people for real reasons, not because of the action of one or a few who happen to be connected to that. That's my opinion. Take it or leave it. And this isn't a commercial for Black Rifle, but if you do want to try their coffee, you can use code Mike the Cop and get it for 20% off. Okay, bye. Boom.